Breaking. Republican candidate for Minnesota Governor Chris Maddow drops out of race. I can't look my daughters in the eye and say I'm running as a Republican when they're pulling over Hispanics and Asians because of the color of their skin. I did not sign up for that. You know, it's really easy in cases like this to say things like too little too late or you took your time or whatever. However, I don't agree with that, right? I will always commend someone for standing up and doing the right thing, regardless of what their motives might be. Standing up and doing the right thing is always a good thing, right? I think the saying is something along the lines of the best time to have done this was yesterday, but the second best time to do this is today. So I absolutely commend this guy for standing up and doing something that he feels is the right thing to do instead of, you know, falling in line and just obeying orders. This video brought to you by my YouTube members and patrons. Thank you guys. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today we are going to be returning to r/white people Twitter, and oh boy, do I have some insanity for you today. This is going to be a very American-centric post, but ultimately that's because at the moment America has the most batshit stuff going on. Honestly, you know, short of Trump being in the Epstein files thousands of times, anti-science, anti-medicine being in charge of the country's medicine, and their own personal Gestapo running rampant in the country. There's a lot to talk about at the moment, so we're going to. However, very quickly before we begin, I just wanted to mention that YouTube members and patrons, you guys get an extra video every single week for as low as £1 a month. That equates to about 25p per video. So if that is something that interests you, please do consider joining either on the memberships or at my Patreon in the link down below. It really helps support the channel, like way more than you realize. Also, I have a small update for those of you that care just about my life. If you don't want to hear me talk about stuff going on in my own life for a bit, skip to this timestamp. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. But for those of you that are interested, I have a little bit to talk about. So this video, there's like a 50-50 chance is either coming out on a Friday after a previous video or will be the next week's video on a Thursday, right? And the reason for that is I have a job interview coming up. It will have already happened as of this video going out, but I have a job interview coming up, and if all goes well, then I will start that job relatively soon. So a lot of the videos that I will have been recording to come out on a daily basis will probably start coming out on a weekly basis instead. I don't know what's going to happen with member videos yet. It depends on how overworked I feel doing regular YouTube videos, but I'll have a little bit of a backlog of regular videos to keep going out while I sort my life out with starting a new job. But potentially I'm going to be moving from doing 4 public videos and 1 member video a week to 1 video a week, right? Because I'll be doing something else that will be bringing in enough money for me to live on, and I will be able to just put a bit more time into YouTube as a passion project, like per video, rather than going full time and uploading loads of videos, you know? But yeah, so there may be a decrease in content, and this video may be coming out a week later as a result of that. I don't know yet. Like, as of recording this, I haven't had the interview yet, but I have talked to someone else that's gotten me towards the interview that has given me very good indications that it's going well. So we will see. Basically, we will see. So also as a result of that, if this is coming out a week later on the Thursday, I will be live in 2 hours as of this video going up. I'm still going to be live streaming every Thursday. Don't worry about that. So if this is coming out on the Thursday, please do come along to my stream. I always have a good time with it. If it's not, completely disregard that part. Anyway, that's enough rambling. Let's get into the subreddit, shall we? The WHO removes the US flag today. Our country has become a damn joke. I mean, here's the thing though. Is it surprising that the WHO would remove the US flag, right? The World Health Organization has removed the flag of a country that is currently eschewing vaccines and actual medical treatments in the place for homeopathic remedies that RFK Jr. has stocks in. Is that surprising to anybody? No. However, what did actually surprise me a little is California to join WHO Health Network in rebuke of Trump. It's Gavin Newsom's latest counter to the Republican president. California is becoming the first state of the US to join the WHO independently. That's interesting. That's good news. This is a sign that there is still good in the country, regardless of what Donald Trump would want you to think. Alex Pretty's last words. Don't touch her. Are you okay? Renee Good's last words. I'm really not mad at you, dude. And this administration wants you to believe that these fellow Americans were domestic terrorists. This must end. Abolish ICE. I also have a little bit additional information about the Renee Good and her last words. So her last words were, "I'm really not mad at you, dude." You know what the last thing, at least in the video, that the ICE agent that shot her to death said? He said, "Fucking bitch." Yeah, her last words to him, "I'm really not mad at you, dude." He shoots her dead and says, "Fucking bitch." I think that says a lot, doesn't it? There's a lot to be carried in those two words, but all it really says to me is that people like that agent are humongous, massive pieces of shit. I'm pretty sure as well, I'll verify this on screen, that same agent flies the fucking "don't tread on me" flag. You know the flag that's like a universal symbol for being against government overreach? Yeah, a government agent that murdered someone flies that flag in his house. You can't, this shit's like, it's so insane. You can't make that up. Genuinely. Like, The Onion is going to go out of business. Bloomington police announced arrests in sex traffic bust. Rashad Johnson out of Maple Grove. This is the most disturbing arrest that we have had here. He is a backgrounder for ICE, Homeland Security, and the federal agencies. Just in the past few months in Minnesota, there have been as many ICE employees arrested for sex trafficking as there's been people executed by ICE agents. I'm speechless, apparently. I can't get over the fact that there are also still people that will defend this organization, right? Is it any surprise to anybody the criminal activities going on in ICE, the absolute mistreatment and rights violations of their own people that they are committing, when the very people background checking for the organization has been arrested for trafficking? I don't think that should surprise anybody. But also, bear in mind, the president of the United States was best mates with one of the world's most prolific nonces. So this isn't surprising news to me. Photo by Pierre Levy. Yes, this is me. And I threw my Leica. It landed on the base plate with hardly a scratch. Another photographer grabbed it along with my phone, and I was able to track him later. I was held face down, tear gas deployed right in front of me, and pepper sprayed directly in my eye. You know you're in a life-death situation where you don't know what's going to happen, and you know you have important shit that the world needs to see when you throw a Leica, right? Those cameras are like 5,000 to 8,000 pounds. Those are expensive cameras. Those cost a lot of fucking money for you to be throwing one, right? So you know you think shit's important when you do that. I wonder what this guy's crime was, you know, other than photoing ICE agents, you know, photoing effectively a domestic terrorist organization. I wonder what his crime was other than doing that. Probably just doing that, you know, given the track record they've had. Bear in mind also, right, so 2025 has been the year that the most people have died in ICE custody for over 2 decades. I'm pretty sure the last one was 2005, and it was the same amount of death as 2025. 2026 is already on track for topping that, and we're still in February. What the fuck? Damn. ICE grabbed a 17-year-old target worker at his job, despite him saying he's a US citizen. After confirming he was, they dumped him in a Walmart lot 8 minutes away. Bystanders found him sobbing and bleeding. They slammed me on the ground. What even needs to be said at this point? They're not an organization going around gathering illegal immigrants and deporting them. They're going around grabbing up American citizens, beating them up, and then dumping them on the floor. Don't get me wrong, this behavior wouldn't be acceptable if this kid was an illegal immigrant. He should have been picked up, taken to a trial, and then either released or deported based on the findings of a fair trial, right? Not picked up by a group of bullies, beaten up, and then dumped on the floor. But the fact of the matter is, they're not even just picking up immigrants. They're picking up anyone who isn't white, beating them up, and then dumping them on the floor when they find out that they are in fact American citizens. In some cases, American citizens are still being deported. This is a terrorist organization led by actual traffickers. Traffickers, nonces that are kidnapping people regardless of who they they are, beating them up and either dumping them on the ground or deporting them to random countries, right? And you still see people defending this. You still see people trying to justify this. I've had comments on my own videos from people that are like, oh, of course you don't like ICE. You people always support pedophiles. And I just cannot get over the fact that someone would say that to me while supporting a president who is in the Epstein files, supporting an organization that has had multiple trafficking arrests in high up positions in the organization. And they think that we're the ones supporting trafficking and pedophilia simply because we say, you know what, maybe people of color and queer people shouldn't be assaulted based on just who they are. Brain dead. That's the only word I have to say to describe that. Brain dead. For those keeping score at home, Epstein file mentions Trump, 38,000 plus. Now we'll go down to the bottom. Trans people, 0. Drag queens, 0. Immigrants, minus Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, 0. You guys, I'm starting to think it's actually been billionaires and rich old white men this whole time. What? You're telling me that the people who are the, nonces in the giant criminal ring have been trying to character assassinate people that aren't them to take the blame off them? You're telling me it's actually them that's the problem and not the random innocent people they've been accusing? What? You're telling me that the people that everybody has been saying who was best friends with Epstein for the last 2 years were actually best friends with Epstein and not random trans people and drag queens? Color me surprised. I'm laughing so loud I scared my dog and I almost pissed my pants. They spent over $35 million on marketing the Melania Trump movie in England, and it resulted in 1 ticket sold. 1 fucking ticket. I actually have some extra context for this one as well. They did sell more than 1 ticket in the end in the UK, but not by much. So, first of all, the Melania Trump movie, as of today, as of recording this, which was published in the UK in cinemas on January 30th, has made $45,000 in total since January 30th. This is according to Box Office Mojo, by the way, if anybody wants to check my source. Now, let's work out a few things. So the amount of cinemas or movie theaters that this showed in was 155. So if we take that sum and divide it by 155, you have $290 per cinema, right? Since this movie came out on the 30th of January. So if we then, subtract that by days, you have $24 a day per cinema. That is about 2 tickets sold per day per cinema. 2 tickets sold on average per cinema since this movie came out. Including the more busy days and everything. Those account for it. That means there were many days in all of these cinemas where they didn't sell any in a single day. 2 tickets per cinema per day. With multiple showings on per day, that means they had multiple empty viewings and at least 1 viewing where there were only 2 people per day in the UK. A little extra context. So we already established, according to Box Office Mojo in the UK, this movie made $45,000, right? So Iron Lung, a movie published independently that was directed and acted in by Markiplier, a YouTuber, made $1.3 million. $1.3 million, okay? Published on the same day. You also have the movie Send Help, which was, I believe, a Sam Raimi film, which was actually in the UK published on February 5th. That was published later. In the US, it was published on the same day. In the UK, published later, February 5th, made $2.15 million in comparison to, Melania Trump's $35,000. In fact, in the top 5 movies, you have Hamnet, which was $20 million. You have 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, which had $9.5 million. You have Shelter, which was published on the same day as Melania, which made $2.6 million. This is one of the biggest movie flops that they possibly could have had. Such a substantial, massive flop, especially given that they spent $35 million. They spent about 1,000 times what they made in the UK on advertising that movie in the UK. That's fucking incredible. Genuinely fucking incredible. Candace Owens released leaked audio from Turning Point USA in which Erica France Kirk is heard giggling and cheerfully discussing attendance figures, merchandise sales, and performance metrics from Charlie Kirk's memorial event just 11 days after his death. The bit that surprises me, and also that I find quite funny about this, is that it was leaked by Candace Owens, of all people. That's... We live in the weirdest fucking timeline. I have a second post on this as well. Full leaked Turning Point USA Zoom call showing Erica Kirk speaking with staff just days after Charlie Kirk's assassination, cheerfully discussing attendance, merchandise sales, and metrics from his memorial, which took place 11 days after his death. Look at her fucking face. Charlie Kirk dying was apparently the best thing that ever happened to her. She has made so much money off of her husband's death. She clearly doesn't mourn him in any of the videos. I think that this was the best thing that happened to her. And I'm not saying it's a good thing that it happened, but clearly she thinks so. This was a family of grifters, and this is her latest grift. And this is the grift that has made her the most money of anything else probably in her life. Fucking insane. Genuinely fucking insane. But again, I do find it somehow hilarious that this was all leaked by Candace fucking Owens. Like, wild. Fucking wild. I'm sorry, but apparently as the only person on the planet with the superpower known as pattern recognition, I have to ask, y'all know it's gonna turn out Elon has absolutely, like I mean deadass 1000% been effing kids, right? This was posted in 2022, 4 years ago. I guess right at the end of 2022, so 3 years ago we'll say. But even still, 3 years ago was when this was tweeted. Let's go back to an earlier post real quick. Elon Musk mentioned in the Epstein files 1,116 times. Yeah, I think their predictions were right, but also, yeah, this was 100% a predictable outcome. You know, he was already turning conservative simply because it had gone public that he had propositioned workers on his plane for sex, you know? So like, and then tried to pay them off. So I don't think it surprises me because the pipeline is literally commit heinous sex act, get accused of heinous sex act, become Republican. That's the pipeline. Like, fucking hell. If you translate Bad Bunny's lyrics to English, he really isn't an appropriate pick to headline the Super Bowl halftime show. Young ladies, I like 'em underage. See, some say that's statutory, but I say it's mandatory. Oh wait, my bad. That's actually Kid Rock, headliner for the MAGA Christian halftime show. So that tracks. Well, yeah, of course someone like Kid Rock sings about underage girls because not only are those the kind of people he's into, but those are also the kind of people that his audience are into. He's singing for a MAGA audience, right? He's singing for an American conservative audience. You know, the people who voted Epstein's most prolific client into power. Of course that's what he's singing about. That's his audience. Speaking of Donald Trump.
Record cold wave expected to hit 40 states. Rarely seen anything like it before. Could the environmental insurrectionists please explain? Whatever happened to global warming?
Environmental insurrectionists is an interesting term to refer to people who are talking about climate change. You know, scientists talking about climate change. But let's break it down for a second. First of all, it's not called global warming anymore because the name was misleading and it's been renamed. Climate change is more of an accurate term. However, the average temperature of the globe is absolutely rising. We have recorded evidence that the average temperature of the globe rises every single year. Second of all, it's called climate change because the results of climate change can be a lot of freak weather. It can be extreme cold waves, it can be extreme heat waves, it can be tsunamis and tornadoes. There can be lots of things that it causes, right? So a record cold wave, rarely seen anything like it before, right? A record cold wave that's never been seen before. Where are the environmental insurrectionists? Probably saying I fucking told you so because you've just had an insane freak weather output that's never been seen before. What more fucking proof do you need? God, he's so fucking dumb. But again, this is all probably just an attempt at, you know, distracting the fact that he's been mentioned in the Epstein files 38,000 times. What the fuck is going on, America? And the final post. How come every VIP was in the Epstein files? Except Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden really is the most ethical degenerate ever. No Epstein pedo shit. Hunter simply enjoys getting blazed out of his mind with consenting Latina sex workers of age. He's a proper American freak. A man of the people, honestly. It is funny that, you know, before all this Epstein shit, the most controversial thing of like the decade was Hunter Biden's laptop. Where's the laptop? Release the laptop. And then all of this has happened and Hunter Biden hasn't been named in a fucking single thing. Donald Trump, the person calling for the release of the laptop, has been mentioned in the files 38,000 times. Hunter Biden, not a single fucking time. Isn't that fucking hilarious? That's the funniest outcome I think that could have possibly fucking happened. Holy shit. I'm gonna end the video there. I don't think there's a way I could possibly top it. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. If you would like to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below, or equally you can click on that join button on the channel to support me. It helps a lot more than you might realize, but by no means should you feel like you have to. I'm going to keep making content regardless. But a huge, massive special thank you to all of my wonderful YouTube members and patrons who do support me. All of your names are up on screen right now. It genuinely helps so much, so much, and it genuinely means so much. So thank you to everybody that does. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.